Alrighty, so we're back here on some more Warframe. I'm still doing this Carmine Pinto grind. The barrel is just not dropping right now, but it's at least a pretty quick process. Anyway, today we're talking about the recent dev short on Warframe, and it's kind of funny. The moment that actually happened in the dev short that got quite a bit of buzz was really just like 2 seconds long, if even. Basically, Warframe raids were mentioned, and Pablo just simply said, raids are AIDS. Now, I don't think he means like raids just in totality, like across all games. I think he's more so just talking about specifically for Warframe, because like raids in Destiny and World of Warcraft, etc., they're good. People really love them. And Pablo did start like a Twitter thread just kind of talking a little bit more about the Warframe raids. I didn't really see all the points because I just have not watched another vid talking about it, because I don't have Twitter, so I don't really know what Pablo said actually. But I just wanted to give my own thoughts on Warframe raids as someone that plays Warframe a fair bit, because really like raids are cool. I do like raids. I mean, I've played Destiny 2 a lot. I have not played it in probably about 8 months now, because Destiny is just, it's beyond life support at this point. I don't even know how much longer Destiny 2 will be around, which is kind of sad in a way to actually say. I mean, Bungie is just, you don't really know what's going to happen to them. Marathon's not doing too well. I mean, Marathon, it's like, seems like the game is good, but it's not really getting the numbers that it needs. Like, if you like Marathon, that's no problem at all. Like, oh yeah, it's a niche genre. Well, tell that to Sony, see what they think about that. But anyway, I just really do not think raids in Warframe will work because of Warframe's design. I know I heard some people just say like simply with raids, oh, you got to get a coordinated team together, which is true. Most raids require coordination. That is a bit hard in Warframe, especially just from like a public match standpoint. That's probably like nearly impossible. I mean, we already struggle enough with trying to open doors, so trying to get more coordinated than that, I mean, good luck. But that's like not the best excuse to just not do raids. Really, I think raids just don't work because Warframe is just too fast and it has too high of a power ceiling. So it would be really hard to make difficulty. It's really hard to just make any sort of difficult content on Warframe that's actually not annoying to deal with. Because if you start trying to introduce difficulty, you're going to have to give the enemies ridiculous damage that is probably going to make most frames irrelevant, or you're going to have to introduce ability nullifying, which is not fun at all to deal with, and you're probably going to have to make enemies ridiculously tanky, which again is not fun to deal with. And really, this is like the one criticism that I hear from people that are just not too much of a Warframe fan. It's definitely challenge. Like, there just is not really any sort of difficulty in this game, and a lot of people do not really feel the need to progress too much, because it's kind of like, why do I need to get stronger? Like, I don't need to get stronger to do whatever content that's out there. Like, the level of strength that you need for end game content is, I don't know, probably half of the power ceiling. It is also like a little bit frame dependent, as some frames are just simply better than others. Meanwhile, Destiny's design, because I'm just using Destiny as an example because Destiny 2 is actually what I've played a fair bit of. I've not really played World of Warcraft, but Destiny 2's gameplay design, it works well for raids because it's slower paced. The power ceiling is not that high. I think really just the main thing is the pacing. It lends itself to enemies that can actually do, decent damage, have a decent health. Destiny is just, not a super fast-paced game. It still is, somewhat fast-paced, but it's not Warframe fast-paced. In Warframe, it's like if you're not one-shotting a guy on the highest level, what are you doing? Whereas Destiny, that's pretty regular, except for like very specific weapons. But even at the highest level, like hand cannons and highest level content on Destiny, it still is pretty much like a two-shot headshot. I also think that Destiny's health system works better for gameplay design. Actually, it's a bit easier to just kind of work around. And then also, you just simply cannot break the game as much as Warframe. Like Warframe, if you're not melting a boss, again, what are you doing? Whereas Destiny, you're kind of used to damage phases, and you got a good idea of what a good damage phase is. Like, it is possible to one phase most bosses, and when you do that, that is pretty exciting. That is pretty fun. That means that, yeah, you did some great damage. Whereas Warframe, there is no really damage phases. It's kind of like, yeah, you just destroy the boss and, 3 seconds maybe. So I guess to just really sum it up, Warframe just has too much of a power ceiling, and if any sort of difficulty were to be introduced, it would probably be really annoying and not fun difficulty. The pacing and power ceiling is just too much in Warframe. At least something that I would like to kind of see in Warframe would actually be an equivalent of dungeons in Destiny. I do think that is like a little bit more reasonable to ask for, because the thing with dungeons in Destiny is that they all can be done solo, which I think is really important, because that means that even if you were with others randomly in public, you could still do the dungeon if you just simply know how to do it yourself. Like in Fireteam Finder, which is the LFG for Destiny, I've done plenty of dungeons with just random others. Heck, even some people that are doing the dungeon for their first time, and I got no issues doing the dungeon, because it can all be soloed. So as long as I know how to do the dungeon, it's chill. It's really simple, no problems at all. So I think Warframe could have something similar to that. Also think it would just be nicer to kind of have, like, I do like the structure of dungeons, how there's like roughly 3 boss encounters, and between each encounter you kind of got to do some traversing and some puzzling. Like, say whatever you want to about Destiny, but dungeons and raids are still great. They're the best parts of Destiny, really. And so I think Warframe could do something somewhat similar to dungeons, because dungeons are, again, they can all be soloed, which is important, because that means that you don't get the annoyance of going into random public matchmaking and just your teammates do not know what they're doing. You're not gonna have that issue, really, if all the content can be soloed. I know Warframe used to have raids. I did not do any of the raids, but that was like 2017 and prior. The game was a lot different back then, and honestly, I just gotta be honest, the game was not that good back then, because 2017 was when I started, and oh Nelly, it was not good. Like, you gotta keep in mind, that's pre-Railjack, that's pre the New War, that's pre a lot of story, actually, and that was when we were just having to wait so long for the New War to come out. That was when Railjack was just garbage. It almost seemed like any sort of update that came out was not that good. I don't really know too much how the gameplay design of Warframe was back then, but I can probably say that's not as good as it is now. So really, raids just cannot really be done in any sort of like effective manner in Warframe. The game's just not really designed for raids. But I do think maybe something somewhat like a dungeon could be done. I think the question is just the rewards, because like, if the rewards aren't really cool, people don't really care too much. I guess that's another thing about Warframe, is just that its reward structure is also just, it's not like Destiny or World of Warcraft. Like Destiny is just like, at the end of each mission you get the weapon, and the weapon is specific to whatever mission or activity you're doing, right? So dungeons all have their own specific loot, and it's also from like specific encounters. Whereas Warframe, you build everything. It's not RNG drops and, oh, did I get the guard wall? Warframe is basically, it's kind of like the equivalent of farming for a static role and then just changing all the stuff on it, all the mods and perks on it. That's basically what Warframe is. It would be like if in Destiny you were just farming for the weapon itself and then you just slap on whatever perks you want to. And then there's also like cosmetics to actually chase in Destiny. It's just like simply the armor. You know, do you want to transmog it? Does the armor look cool? That kind of stuff. And maybe a shader or two. Man, it would be cool if I could see my screen. If only my crewmate could. Yeah, thank you. But I think that's really all I got to say on this topic. I mean, raids, they just don't work in Warframe. They work in Destiny, they work in World of Warcraft, because the gameplay design is just more suited for it. Warframe just has too much of a power ceiling where it's difficult to do any sort of actual difficulty, which is like a main criticism of Warframe. Like, even from Destiny players I've heard that tried Warframe, they're like, yeah, the game's good, but there's just no challenge, really. The difficulty is not there. But I still like hope Warframe can do some sort of other engaging content. Like, there is Elite Archimedia. Like, I mean, that's probably like the only sort of engaging content I can think of, really, because anything else I'm kind of just like tuned out of, not really thinking too much. There was the Guilty recently. I still have not done that, actually. I think I've heard that it's like somewhat challenging solo, but again, you can probably build your way out of that. Actually, I have to test it for myself. But Elite Archimedia, the only time Elite Archimedia is even somewhat challenging is if your frame options and weapon options are all frames and weapons that you do not have fully modded out, because even the worst frame can still do Archimedia. The problem is that you just get a frame that you don't have fully modded out. But anyway, I think we'll just finish up this mission and see if I get the Carmine Penta barrel, because that's all that I'm missing at this point. But yeah, I hope that just Warframe still does engaging content. I don't really know how they can make it even sort of difficult without being too annoying. Because ability nullifications, that's not fun. Dying in 1 or 2 shots is not too fun. Granted, yes, I know shield gating, but not every frame can shield gate effectively. You kind of need to be an ability spammer for that to happen. So, I mean, it's kind of like a corner that DE walked themselves into. They chose the route of just balls to the wall power, and I mean, the pro is that, yeah, it does kind of feel nice. It does feel kind of fun. There definitely is an audience that loves that level of power, but the con is that, I mean, difficulty kind of just does not really exist. And the only way to introduce difficulty would be absolutely annoying or completely nerfing every single frame and weapon, basically just reducing the power ceiling, which players would also not enjoy. No Carmine Penta barrel? A bonus endo, thank you. Yep, that's totally what I needed. Anyway, I think we'll call that there for now. Hopefully I got my thoughts across just fine. Sometimes when I'm trying to do these free thinking videos, it is a bit rough. Let me tell you, I talk a lot easier in my head than I do out loud. It's weird. Like if I could, if I script these videos, yes, it goes a lot more smooth. But I don't really want to script because I don't know. I like just doing kind of a live commentary. But anyway, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll get this Carmine Penta barrel here soon, and I guess I'll see you on whatever I do next.